What if I told you that age is merely a number and living your best life is within reach, regardless of how many years you've graced this world? Today, we have the honor of hosting the extraordinary Dr. Maria Sheehan, a living testament to the limitless possibilities that lie within each of us. Join us as we unravel the secrets behind her boundless energy, vibrant spirit, and unparalleled zest for life. Are you ready to challenge everything you thought you knew about aging? Get ready to be captivated by Dr. Maria's remarkable journey, leaving you inspired to redefine what it means to live life to the fullest. Welcome to a world where age is just a number and radical rhythms of vitality await. Welcome to the Radical Rhythm Podcast. Today, I have my very good friend Maria with us, and I am so excited to do this interview for so many reasons, but I'm not going to tell you what they are. We're going to unveil them as the time goes by. I met Maria in Costa Rica, and we were both there to learn about retreats. But what I learned about was a woman that was going to inspire me over the next year. And I want you to learn from Maria herself. Maria, thank you for being here today from Nevada, I believe you're today.
Well, Dr. Toni, thank you for having me. I am excited to be here and talk about all my favorite things, aging especially, and how we should reframe it, and what my journey was to come to a different place, really, in terms of how I would age.
Well, when I sat next to you at the retreat table for retreat planners, I saw you were a fellow academic with a higher education background, and I was excited. And then I found out that you are my senior by quite a few years. And I was like, no way, this sexy mama. And then I found out that not only are you an academic, and you're traveling the world and you're hosting your own retreats and programs, that you have a program called Flourishing with Age. And whatever secret you have, I want it. So we're going to unveil a little bit of this to our audience today. And let's get started. Thank you so much for being here and sharing with us. So Maria, I've seen your transformation photos. When did you decide that you wanted to get in, I'm just going to say, in good shape? We'll go into more detail about that in a little bit, what good shape is.
Well, okay, so I have this struggle that many women have as we're getting into past 55 or so. 50s are hard, and that's just the reality, that 50s are hard. And so the weight comes on, and menopause, throws us a curveball. And then we get to the point where we're 60 and it gets harder. And the weight stays on, and you try things and they don't work, and more weight comes on. And then you look around at all your friends and they're all in the same spot. So you think, okay, well, I've tried it all, and is this the way it's going to be? Well, it didn't look good for me at 69 when I had about 25 pounds more than I have today. And I had absolutely no muscle. I wasn't obese, but I wasn't far, far from fit. And I thought, this does not look good. I'm going on the downhill here. What are the 70s going to be like? So on my 69th birthday, I gave myself a present. My financial advisor had been working with me in terms of retirement. And he said to me, as he's seeing me plump up over the many years that I've worked with him, I think you should see my trainer. And at that
He
point,
said that?
he did. And
Oh my goodness.
I wasn't even insulted. I thought I've tried everything else. But the thought of weights put me off, as it does most women. We think we don't want to be unfeminine, and we don't want those gigantic Hulk type muscles. And that's kind of the stereotype of weight training. But I was so desperate at that point that I thought I'm going to bundle up and go to the gym. And so I did, and I was covered, head to toe. Nothing was showing at all. Now I'm doing competitions in bikinis. But back then I was so concerned and sort of shamed about my body. And so I wouldn't have gone into that gym if it was not a private studio where this trainer only worked one-to-one. And because he did that and nobody else would see me, I started, and the first thing I said to him is, I don't want those big hulky muscles. And he said, look, that's never going to happen unless you're using drugs and you've been lifting heavy for 20 years. So stop it. And so he didn't say stop it, but I then decided, okay, I'm going to do this. And it's amazing, Toni. It's amazing how fast your body can transform if you give it a chance. And we don't know that. We think, oh, 69, oh, shoot. Okay, so that does not have to be the way it is. We can transform our bodies. We can get stronger with age. And I keep proving that every year to myself, right? And to the ladies that I work with. So you mentioned Flourish with Age, and that's a closed Facebook group. And in there I post exercises, I ask questions, I talk about food, I talk about our mentality about aging, and I feature women who are over 80, over 90, over 100. Those are the trailblazers. Those are the ones that we should be looking at. And fortunately, society kind of hides them. You have to dig around to find these ladies. The oldest yoga instructor passed away at 102. She was still teaching at 101. There
Wow.
is a choreographer who is still doing choreography, and they were doing a movie of her life. She's in France, 105 years old. And these are women who would not let the word old be attached to them. And so it's very mental. It's a very mental thing about how we're going to age. Once we start thinking, I'm old, I can't do it, then it's a downward spiral.
Right. And you mentioned it very quickly in your response, but you said the word bikini. And, this podcast is called Radical Rhythm, specifically because all of me, I interview women that march to the beat of a different drum. And when you and I were sitting next to each other and met each other, and you said, yes, I do fitness competitions, and you showed me some photos in bikinis, I was like, oh my God. And then my mind, you talk about a mind shift. My mind shifted at that point, Maria. I can't do that. Up to this point, it was like, wow, you are, like 15 years my senior, and you're healthy and you're vibrant and you're in Costa Rica and you're hiking with all these young women that we were with. And I was with you at that moment. I was like, wow, this is my role model. This is what I want to do. And then with the bikinis and the fitness, I'm like, all of a sudden the mind turned off and it was like, well, I can't do that. Tell us
And
about your fitness competitions, and then we'll talk about flipping minds, because
yes,
this
we must
is
talk about that.
just something else.
Well, okay, so another issue that we have as women is this perception of us becoming invisible as we age. You hear that a lot of women talking about becoming invisible, and I think that we invest in that ourselves by just pulling into the background and accepting it. Well, talk about different drummer. I don't accept that, right? So if we're going to
Right.
say we don't accept it, how do you push that boundary all the way? I think a fitness competition where you're standing there with women who are decades younger than you, and then sometimes having to compete right up against them. So most of fitness competitions that accept the older athletes are looking are called natural. Okay, so a natural competition means that everybody gets tested so that you're not, they're sure you are not using anything. Okay, and if they find out that you are, they take your title away and you go into the Hall of Shame. So,
Right.
so nobody is going to do that. And so they're a little more forgiving in terms of the physiques that they're looking for. So some of the untested federations will look for this really skinny, I think almost very unhealthy kind of bony, voluptuous, so bony kind of a figure, where natural competitions are a little bit more forgiving in that arena, and they accept the older competitors. So I never thought I would compete. Oh my gosh, I was a college senior executive. We don't compete. You know, we are in our power suits. That's where we are, you know, at the table with all the men right in there, right? We're not taking anything off. So after about a year of really putting in the time in terms of strength training, what I discovered was health coaching. I got into a program and learned about it, nutrition. And of course, you can't uncouple the strength training from nutrition. We'd like to do that. We'd like to say, I'll go into the gym, I'll spend an hour, then I'll have pizza and beer. And it doesn't work that way. You just can't do it. You have to couple those things. Doesn't mean you can't, on occasion, have a treat or two. You can't, but it can't be your daily pattern. So when I put those two together, I started seeing, yikes, I have muscles, you know, they were covered with the fat before, but no, I didn't even have them. So, but as you train and you still keep weight, that weight covers the muscular development. So you have to shed that and get to a really healthy weight. So after a year, my trainer said, "Well, why don't you compete?" And I thought, well, why not? So I did. But then it was not bikini at all. I thought, no way am I going to do that. It was a competition category that was sports attire. So you had to have a sports theme. It could be tennis, it could be basketball, baseball, anything. And then you'd have a little outfit, the little shorts, a sports bra. And I thought, oh, I can do that. And so I did it, and I won a trophy, and then I was hooked. It was like my first trophy. Not that you don't get accolades in education, because you do, and then you don't know what to do. You have a room full of them, but a trophy, you know, for showing up for yourself. That was just okay. So then it was addictive. Then I got into an international competition, and I did a figure competition. I ended up, and you never know what it's a luck of the draw. Who's going to show up? How well you do. Well, I decided I was going to do figure, which is the particular pretty strong defined moves, and you just have a few of those. It's very different than the bikini competition. And so I did that, and you could wear a full suit. So you see, I'm slowly making my way over
your clothes
to
off.
no clothes. So I did that, and I ended up with a pro, and I thought, how can I put me next to this? And it's international, right? And so she's from Australia, gorgeous blonde, and you know, obviously had been doing this for years, and I'm like 3 years in or 2 years in, and I'm standing there thinking, show up for yourself. You can do it. And it's a mental thing. Okay, so show up for yourself. You got on that stage, you did it to yourself, you better show up now. And there I am standing next to her, and I got a silver medal. So, you know, it then I went from there to, well, I could do this, maybe I could do something else. And so I did full suit, swimsuit, and then back to figure, which is a smaller suit, and then on to bikini. And I've done bikini, I guess, for about 3 years.
Right. Right. And you started competing when you were 71, 72?
71.
Wow. Wow.
71. But
Yeah.
okay, so this again, Tony, is about not being invisible, okay, and not putting the barriers up and not saying I can't do it. And it I now have someone who saw me in this little local TV show that we have, Aging and Awesome. They asked me to do a little segment on strength training and why that was important for women as we age. And I did that. And this 75-year-old saw it, and I was 75. And she said to herself, well, if she can't, I can't. She tracked me down. She was in Reno. And at about 4 months after that segment aired, she tracked me down and said she wanted to change her life. And now she came in huffing and puffing, and it was pretty bad. And now she can do a tree pose and has that level of stability and is walking upright instead of hunched over, the old lady hunches that we do. And
Wow.
why do we do that? We don't have to do that. We just don't know that it doesn't have to be that way. So that's my message, is it doesn't have to be that way. We can change. If we decide that that's what we want, we can change.
That's amazing. Absolutely amazing. So tell me, like, I'm going to let you just absolutely smack me here. So, so tell me about my mindset when I see you in a bikini. Um, I don't say she does that. I can do that. I say, oh, look, she's thin. She's well defined. There's no way I could do that. Help me
And
flip my mind around, because I am sure there's some folks in the audience here that are saying the same thing. Well, she's got a thin build. She's pretty. She's, all of these things that I'm not.
well, I think, Tony, people who see me now don't often know what I look like before. And really, if you see some of those pictures before, and they're 20 years old, I look older then than I look now. I am heavier then substantially than I am now. So it's a real transformation. So the fact that, and it's really about not how somebody else is, but what is the level of fitness that you can gain for yourself. Not everyone wants to be on stage with high heels and a bikini. No, well,
No,
practically no one. No one
no, I
wants
don't.
that.
I never
But
liked high heels.
but what we do want is our bodies back, right? What we
Yeah.
do want is to be strong. What we do want is to feel pride and confidence in our bodies, because we know we invested, we did something. We took the, not, oh, I want to be, better, but I want to do the things that are going to cause me to be better. So we're taking the steps toward what we want to achieve. So many people say, oh, gee, I want to, I want to lose weight. I really want to be healthy, but they don't want to get off the couch. Well, then it's not going to work. And I have people who say to me, well, I'm not going to stop drinking. Okay, that is fine. That is that's a decision. If you don't want to give up something and trade it for something else. So it's like there's such an abundance of food that we can eat. There's so many other kinds of things we can do to satisfy desires besides things that are going to wreck our body. So you're switching it out. You're not really depriving yourself of anything. You're making a alteration, a switch of one thing for another thing. But if you say, hey, I don't want to give up my alcohol, well, then I say, okay, you're going to get stronger, but your body composition is not going to change. Your body composition is going to depend on what you're putting into your body. And so if you're putting alcohol in and pasta in and cookies and candy and you all the rest of it is and but you're really working out hard, okay, you're going to get very strong, but you won't get that contouring of your body that you want.
Right. Right. And I have to, I'm just going to confess that So now that I'm either on the road or I'm in my office. That's where I am now, Maria. Now that I'm not working at the university anymore. And I try to keep myself fairly regular in that I take a lunch break. It really helps. Like to take my mind off of
Very good.
computers and make something for lunch, whether it's healthy or it's not healthy. But let's say it's leftovers from dinner the night before, right? So I take my little lunch and I sit on the couch. I go in a different room in the living room and I put the news on, not real interesting. I pick up my phone and I start checking Facebook, LinkedIn, and there you are, Maria. Every day I see you. I'm feeding my face and you're working out and in video, and I just have to put it down. I'm like, oh, oh, Toni, stop feeding your face and go back to work.
Now,
And
now,
soon I'm going to
okay.
start your program. I'm so excited. Talk about this
Okay.
new program. It's called 77. What is this?
Okay, and I'll tell you about the 77 Club, but then I want to come back because I don't want you to beat yourself up because you did
Okay.
some good things there, and I want to pull out the good things that you did.
Okay.
Okay, so I am excited about the 77 Club because I'm 77. You don't have to be 77 to get into this club, but it is a subscription program. And so you pay monthly, but you can stop out anytime you want. But it's really an accountability program. So there are 2 sessions with me by Zoom by Zoom. So 2 sessions, 2 Thursdays a month. And then there's a closed Facebook group so I'm only taking 10 in this group. That's my maximum. So we'll go until we get to 10 and that's it. And we're going to go only until December. So it's May to December. So now we've got a definite stopping point and a place where we can just check ourselves on a weekly basis. So I'll be putting in some recipes and some ideas and some inspiration. And then there's an opportunity to meet whoever else is in the program to support one another. And then anyone in the program can have up 20-minute sessions 3 times a month, or an hour a month to talk about where are you right now, and let's customize for where you are.
And I thought if I had to fess up to you a couple times a month, I might behave. That's what I'm going to try. So, yeah, I'm excited. So, yeah, compliment me. Go ahead, Maria.
Okay, so all right, so one last thing about 77
Oh,
and then your compliment. Okay,
okay.
so the 77 Club is that accountability that we cheat on ourselves. Okay, we do, because who's going to see? Probably no one. And so we set the goal and then we sabotage ourselves. But when you're in an accountability, when I go to my trainer, I know he's going to say, what did you eat? And I'm going to have to fess up and not lie, right? Because what good would that be? And then he's going to beat me up if I did something bad. And it's 3 times a week for 1 hour. What's that? It's really nothing in the scope of a full week of time. But I know I've got to be there. I paid him ahead, right? I've already paid for it. I'm going to show up and I'm going to do my very best. And then when I leave, I'm going to feel really proud of myself. Okay, now to your compliment. All right, so what you said, you were beating yourself up because you were, taking your food into another room. So I just did a podcast about stress and stress eating and how we should not eat at our desk. And you did absolutely the right thing.
Oh,
You
great.
removed yourself. Okay, you
All
removed
right.
yourself so you could say, this is my time, Toni. So that was the great thing. You moved away from your desk, you centered yourself in another area, and you gave yourself time and permission to eat. And that's a good thing. And so if you have some leftovers, we'll be talking about that, what those leftovers are. But the idea that you packed your lunch, that's fabulous, okay? Because once you know what to put in that lunch, okay, what you need to prepare, that's what you're going to have, okay? So you're going to know, this is what I need, this is what I need, this is what I need. I'm going to buy that at the store. I'm going to spend my 1 hour prepping 1 week, every week, 1 hour. And now I'm going to go to the refrigerator and I'm going to pull out what I know is going to be good for my body.
Mm-hmm. No, that's great.
So you're on your way.
I'm on my way. I'm so excited. And can you believe that our podcast is almost over? It goes so fast. I
It
wanted to
does.
ask you a question that kind of um it's a personal question, so answer it as you will. So most of my podcasts on this program are about sex and sexuality and marching to the beat of a different drum. So when we look at your program and look at your life story, can you talk about what the value of feeling lighter, feeling healthier, um, and its effect on feeling sexier? Is there a relationship there that you could talk about for us?
I absolutely believe that there is a relationship. How I feel in my body today is very different than I felt in my body maybe 15 years ago. And it's just how you feel about yourself when you know that perhaps there could be another way. And when you are at your healthiest best, you're at your sexiest best.
I love, oh my God, that we're going to tweet that when we're done here. I I'm going to cut that right out there, Maria. That is wonderful, wonderful advice. We are done already, and I know that you and I are going to work together many times in many places doing different things. This has been a wonderful relationship since the time I met you about this time last year. And so I would love if our audience would sign up for your program, sign up for your email list, sign up for your newsletter. And I'm going to put the information underneath the podcast. So we'll link that up for you. Um, is are there is there any parting wisdom that you would love to share with the audience here before we go?
Well, yes, Toni. As a matter of fact, there is. So coming up next year, the first week of February, is Aging Agelessly in Panama. And it is an elite retreat where we will focus on our health, but we will have the most amazing excursions in a very beautiful place of the world.
And you're Panamanian?
Yes. So Panama is my country of origin, and I want to show it off because there's a lot to see. We'll start in Panama City and we'll end up in the Isla San Blas, which are the San Blas Islands, which are beautiful, 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 beautiful. And so I invite your listeners to take a look at the Elite Retreat in Panama,
And that's
Aging
in
Agelessly,
February 2024.
February 1st to the 7th.
Fantastic. Maria, thank you so much for coming and speaking with my audience. I hope that everyone is as inspired as I am. And I'm going to have to take a before picture here, but not in a bikini, Maria, before I start working with you. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, Dr. Toni, my pleasure.